Down a mine, is he? Laughed Gordon. What a joke!
In 1979, Britt Allcroft acquired rights to make a TV show based on the Railway series. It was a daunting task as 2 other attempts were made, with one not even making it to releasing a single episode. 26 episodes were set for release and the crew was assembled. David Mitton came on as director, Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell came on to write music, Robert Gould Galliers joined as art designer. The show would be made with models and was to pitch a pilot to ITV on April 3rd, 1983. The pilot was based on the Railway series story Down the Mine and was pitched. ITV picked up the show and the crew began to continue work on the show. However, the pilot was refilmed to match the rest of the season better. Since the pilot has never surfaced, no one has ever found it, and it has become one of the most famous lost media pieces from Thomas the Tank Engine, along with the 1976 pilot and the missing coach. However, only a few things have been found out about the pilot, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So according to the little information we have, the pilot had simpler versions of the sets seen in the later version of the episode. However, the biggest difference were the models of Thomas and Gordon. The models were scratch-built instead of kit-bashed, including the chassis by Martin Gill. They were simpler in design and material, made out of plastic instead of brass. However, they had a slight look variation. Annie and Clarabelle were based on kits by 10 Mile, with small, vac-formed faces. The models were rushed in the build stage, and so rushed that they never got tested before running on camera. It bit them later because the models became so finicky that they had to start pulling them with string across the sets. Another way worse problem was the smoke units. The smoke generator was similar to that of a 12-volt car cigarette lighter, with conventional studio smoke oil dropped in the hot element before each shot. But the heat was sufficient enough to begin warping the perspex plastic of the engine's bodies. The effect wasn't even that good. Apparently in some shots they could even see smoke coming out through the IMAX. All of it done for a, well, feeble...
Feeble? Feeble?
Yes, feeble smoke effect that didn't look great. Speaking of IMAX, they were way worse than the ones used in the show. Like I said, they had smoke coming through them, it was finicky and would snag, and they'd have to rewire them constantly. They would also jolt in random directions sometimes too while moving. The chassis, like I said, was hand-built. They later decided to use Markland chassis for the engines. Thomas was missing his lining on his splashers and part of his cab, and was missing his lamp irons. Gordon was the same, however he was also missing his whistle as well. After the pilot Gordon model was refurbished by Christopher Knowlton, it was used as a scrap engine from then on. The pilot was never to be released publicly, only shown twice to companies, first being shown to ITV for the pilot, later for Shining Time Station Rick Sigelcow would show. We only have a couple pictures of the Gordon model, and one shot that was reused in the episode for the Thomas model. The info we have is already a blessing, so if any more is found, the fandom would be so happy. At least I know I would. The most likely source of information would be from a leaker at Mattel, as Rick Sigelcow gave his tapes to Mattel, and after the Magic Railroad Director's Cut debacle proves, Mattel will not stand for info getting leaked out, but it probably won't matter since they're gonna go bankrupt like tomorrow. In conclusion, the Down the Mine pilot is an interesting piece of history for Thomas. When or if the footage is found, I think it'll be very interesting, but overall, the version we got was way better. The models were way better because it wasn't rushed. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but the footage would probably be really rough and kinda suck. The pilot got filmed in only 10 days. It's very cool. It's a very important piece of history, and it couldn't have been done without David Mitton, Britt Allcroft, and the rest of the crew that worked on it. For Pete's sake, Britt Allcroft mortgaged her house for the pilot. The pilot may never surface, but it will never be forgotten. That's for sure. Hey guys, thank you for watching my video on the Down the Mine pilot. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments down below or on my Twitter. Speaking of which, you can follow me on Twitter. I post pictures of model railway stuff, and I leave my thoughts on other things that don't really need their own videos. I will have videos coming out soon. There wasn't one last week, sorry about that. I am working on a big project that will be coming out soon, and episode 2 will also be coming out sometime. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.